We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next hour. India holds Pakistan accountable for dastardly terror attack at Pahalgam, expels the Pakistani military attaches, suspends the Indus water treaty, closes the land transit Atari border. Prime Minister Modi chairs Cabinet Committee on Security meet, vows to bring perpetrators of Pahalgam terror attack to justice. India toughens the stand. Pakistani military attaché is asked to leave India. Pall of gloom descends across the nation as the mortal remains of the victims start reaching respective hometowns. Family members demand perpetrators to be brought to justice. Centre convenes an all-party meet amid the Pahalgam terror attack. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will chair the meeting. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate India Steel Global Conference in Mumbai via video conferencing. Over 12,000 business visitors and 250 exhibitors from India and abroad to attend. And US President Trump lashes out at Ukrainian President Zelenskyy for refusing to part with Crimea to end the conflict. Well, on to the details now. The Cabinet Committee on Security held a high-level meeting on Wednesday to review the overall security situation in the country. The committee, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, directed all security forces to maintain high vigilance and take all necessary measures to prevent future attacks. India took a series of strong measures following the Pahalgam terror attack, including suspension of the Indus Water Treaty 1960 and the closure of the integrated checkpost Atari with immediate effect. And India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri gave details of those measures taken by India in the wake of attack in Pahalgam. Let's listen in.
Recognizing the seriousness of this terrorist attack, the CCS decided upon the following measures. 1. The Indus Waters Treaty of 1960 will be held in abeyance with immediate effect until Pakistan credibly and irrevocably abjures its support for cross-border terrorism. 2. The integrated checkpost Atari will be closed with immediate effect. Those who have crossed over with valid endorsements may return through that route before 1 May 2025. 3. Pakistani nationals will not be permitted to travel to India under the SARC visa exemption scheme visas. Any SVES visas issued in the past to Pakistani nationals are deemed cancelled. Any Pakistani national currently in India under SVES visa has 48 hours to leave India. 4. The Defence, Military, Naval and Air Advisors in the Pakistani High Commission in New Delhi are declared persona non grata. They have a week to leave India. India will be withdrawing its own Defence, Navy and Air Advisors from the Indian High Commission in Islamabad. These posts in the respective High Commissions are deemed annulled. 5 support staff of the service advisors will also be withdrawn from both High Commissions. 5. The overall strength of the High Commissions will be brought down to 30 from the present 55 through further reductions to be effected by 1st May 2025. The CCS reviewed the overall security situation and directed all forces to maintain high vigil. It resolved that the perpetrators of this attack will be brought to justice and their sponsors held to account. As with the recent extradition of Tahawur Rana, India will be unrelenting in the pursuit of those who have committed acts of terror or conspired to make them possible.
Well, the centre has called an all-party meeting also on Thursday in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will chair the session, while Union Home Minister Amit Shah, who returned from Kashmir on Wednesday, is expected to brief opposition leaders on the security situation and the leaders on the situation and the government's response. The meeting will focus on security assessments, intelligence inputs and diplomatic steps taken following the attack. And for more, we have Akshay Dongre joining us. Well, Akshay, in a befitting response and reply, India has been very strong in announcing a series of strong diplomatic measures against Pakistan yesterday. In fact, it pulled on the plug on Indus Waters Treaty also. What will it mean and how will it impact Pakistan now?
Well, it's going to be a major setback for Pakistan, especially at a time when, the tensions are at an all-time high. The decision by the Indian government to pull the plug on the Indus Water Treaty is a befitting response to the continuous training of terrorists, cross-border infiltration, supplying of weapons to these fundamentalists who have been constantly attacking our country for several decades now. And despite all of that, India has been very kind with Pakistan, especially when it comes to sharing the water of Indus River is concerned and all of its tributaries obliging by the Indus Water Treaty. But enough is enough, and finally the Indian government has in fact retaliated against the Pakistani government, which has not only been sponsoring terrorism but actively supporting the kind of statements that were given by the Pakistani Army Chief General Munir were also seen as a precursor to this attack that has taken place, where he has talked about religious fundamentalism and has promoted it as well. He has been talking about the kind of attacks that has been the kind of attack that has been carried out in Jammu Kashmir's Pahalgam. Similar kind of statement were given by the General of Pakistani Army, which goes on to show that how deep the Pakistani agencies are in as far as these kind of conspiracies are concerned, these kinds of attacks are concerned. And with the pulling the plug on the Indus Water Treaty, there is a turmoil in Pakistan itself. Now the population also is questioning the government of Pakistan as far as policies are concerned. Well, many of them are, are also questioning the kind of terror support that Pakistani government has been constantly providing, especially in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and the kind of repercussion that Pakistan is going to face include a shortage of water for irrigation for normal usage. So reminding our users that Indus water provide about 90% of water that is required for irrigation and other purposes to the entire country of Pakistan, along with all tributaries. India has been very gracefully giving more than allotted water to Pakistan. However, it stops now, and the kind of pressure that it will build on Pakistani government, along with several industries of Pakistan, is expected to put mounting pressure not only on the government, but the kind of attitude that the Pakistani army has showed for decades as well. So clearly a strong retaliation coming in from India as far as sharing of these waters are concerned.
All right. Also, Akshay, the closure of the Wagah-Atari route and the cancellation of the Pakistani SAARC visa, since then, what has been the response and what all has transpired?
Well, the response that has been taken by India is just, in fact, the Atari-Wagah border that has been seen as a symbol of hope that the situation will normalize, the relation will become better, has once again been hit by the kind of terror mindset that the Pakistani agencies have, and clearly India cannot continue dialogue while terrorism continues to happen from across the border, while support for these terror attacks continues from the Pakistani Pakistani agencies, including the Pakistani army, the government, the intelligence agencies such as ISI. This border, which was also quite symbolic in nature, is also a major trade route for both the countries to trade. And while India has previously taken the most favored nation status from Pakistan, now the closure of this Atara Wagah border will also put the mounting pressure on trade as well between the two countries, which is all happening in response to the dastardly attack that has taken place in Pahalgam.
Also, Akshay, after India's announced the diplomatic ties with Pakistan to be downsized, how is it impacting the embassy and what is the reaction from there?
Well, Pakistan is a country that is in denial constantly, despite of the kind of support that it has openly given to terrorists, not only to attack India, but all of its neighbors, including Afghanistan. There have been terror attacks in Iran that are originating from Pakistan. These have been constantly being supported. These were constantly supported by Pakistan, and the downsizing of the diplomats in Islamabad, the decision that has been taken by New Delhi, will also be reciprocated here in New Delhi too. India has also asked the defense attaches of Pakistan who are in the Pakistan embassy of Pakistan High Commission of in India will have to go back. They have been declared persona non grata, which means that they are not welcome here. They have been given about a week to wind up their work and return back to Pakistan. Several visas that were issued to Pakistani citizens have also been revoked. They have been given 48 hours of time to return back to Pakistan. All of this is happening to build further pressure on the Pakistani government to act before it gets too late as far as a war between the two countries is concerned.
Also, after the world leaders, Akshay, have condemned the attack, US has issued a travel advisory for Jammu and Kashmir following a Pahalgam terrorist attack.
Well,
what's the latest on that?
Clearly, the advisories that have been issued is in line with the kind of attack that has taken place in Jammu and Kashmir. The terrorists who attacked the innocent civilians are still on the run. They are being tracked. They are being hunted along with the kind of support they have received. That's also being probed that whether there was some local angle involved as far as the attack is concerned when it comes to supporting these terrorists. So, as long as these terrorists remain on the loose, the threat remains, and that perhaps is the reason why governments across the world are now issuing travel advisories for their own citizens who may have been traveling to Jammu and Kashmir or have plans to do that in future. Strong steps are also being taken by the world governments, by the world leaders, given the complexity of situation and the sensitivity of it as well.
All right, Akshay, thank you so much for all those insights and details. And moving on, the whole nation is in agony and pain in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack. People across the nation are mourning the death of victims, offering condolences and holding candle marches in solidarity with the victim families. The mortal remains of the victims have been taken to their respective hometowns for the last rites. The families of victims of the Pahalgam terror attack mourned the loss of their loved ones as they urged the government to take strong action against the perpetrators of the heinous crime. And the Pahalgam terrorist attack took the life of Syed Adil Hussain Shah, the sole breadwinner of a Kashmiri family. Shah was killed by the terrorist while he was trying to protect a group of tourists during a brutal terror attack. His untimely death has left his wife, 2 children and the entire family in profound grief. Terrorists also took the life of Neeraj Udhampur, a resident of Jaipur who worked in UAE and was spending vacations in Pahalgam.
The serene and quiet lanes and bylanes of this picturesque village of Hapatnad in Pahalgam echoed with wails and shrill cries on Tuesday. The cowardly terrorist attack claimed lives of many tourists in Pahalgam. Syed Adil Hussain Shah, a horse rider and a sole breadwinner for his family, was the lone Kashmiri who was killed in cold blood by the terrorists.
एक पहलगाम घोड़े चलाने के लिए गया था। अच्छा। मजदूरी को। फिर हम 3 बजे हमने सुना कि वहाँ पे ऐसा वाक़ा हो गया जिसमें हमने इसको फ़ोन किया तो फ़ोन स्विच ऑफ आया और फिर बाद में पता चला कि इसको एक्सीडेंट हो गया वहाँ पे। तो फिर हमारे लड़के गए वहाँ, उन्होंने देखा जब तो ये अस्पताल में था वहाँ।
तो घर में और कौन कमाने वाला है?
और कौन है? और छोटे हैं दो, तो बड़ा यही था कमाने वाला, सबसे बड़ा।
Reports suggest that during the attack, Adil displayed remarkable courage by attempting to wrestle a gun from the terrorist. He was shot dead in cold blood. While others chose to flee for life, he decided to try and save some. His regard for safety of tourists ultimately proved fatal. The sacrifice prompted an outpouring of support and condolences. Hundreds gathered to pay last respects to the valiant son of Kashmir as Adil Shah was laid to rest on Wednesday. Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah also turned up at the funeral prayer and hailed his courage to stand up against the armed assailants.
ये एक शख्स थे जिन्होंने हमले को रोकने की कोशिश की और जिन्होंने शायद बंदूक छीनने की भी कोशिश की और तभी जाके इनको निशाना बनाया गया। इस खानदान का हमें ख्याल रखना होगा, इनकी मदद करनी होगी और मैं यहाँ इन सबको यकीन दिलाने आया हूँ कि इस मौके पे हुकूमत इनके साथ खड़ी है और जितना हम इनके लिए कर सकेंगे हम कर लेंगे।
The somber and gloomy mood in Kashmir was also reflected in the state of Rajasthan as feelings of anger and despair engulfed a neighborhood in Jaipur. 32-year-old Neeraj Udwani was among the 26 people killed in Pahalgam terror attack. Udwani, who worked in the UAE, was spending his vacation in Pahalgam with his wife when terrorists opened fire on tourists in the Basran meadow. Neeraj's relatives are now demanding a befitting reply to the terrorists.
पूछ के टारगेट किया गया है, वो भी आतंकी है, उनका बिल्कुल सफाया कर देना चाहिए। ऑन द स्पॉट जो डिसीजन गवर्नमेंट लेवे, ऑन द स्पॉट शूट आउट, एक यही है आतंकवाद को खत्म करने का तरीका।
Udwani worked in the UAE and was spending his vacation in Pahalgam with his wife when terrorists opened fire on tourists in the Basran meadow. A time of celebration with family and friends became a lifelong source of misery and anguish. The loss is not only devastating for the families, but is also likely to leave them with lasting psychological scars that may actually never heal. Bureau Report, TD India.
Well, the tragic terrorist attack in Pahalgam claimed the lives of tourists from Gujarat, Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. Among the victims were Yatish Parmar and his 17-year-old son Sumit from Bhavnagar, Shailash Kalithya from Gujarat, Dinesh Mirania from Raipur and Sushil Nathaniel from Indore. Take a look at the report.
Dinesh Mirania from Raipur, Chhattisgarh, was one of the victims of the dastardly terrorist attack in Pahalgam. He went to Kashmir with his wife, daughter and son to celebrate his 18th wedding anniversary. During the attack, Dinesh was with his daughter Lakshita while his wife and son were a short distance away. The terrorists came and asked for his name, and as soon as he revealed his name, the terrorists shot him dead. The family went to the valley for celebrating wedding anniversary, but returned home with agony, anguish, and Dinesh's mortal remains. Their trip cut brutally short by a dastardly terror attack.
कल हमको 5:30 बजे ऐसा सूचना आया कि इस प्रकार का घटना वहाँ हुई है, जो इसको भी गोली लगी है। जब हम पतासाजी करने की कोशिश की है सरकार द्वारा, यहाँ से जब संपर्क किए तो मालूम चला कि वो हॉस्पिटल ले गए हैं और हॉस्पिटल में 9 साढ़े 9 बजे तक हमको मालूम नहीं चला क्या हुआ क्या नहीं, लेकिन 9:30 बजे के बाद समाचार के द्वारा ये पुष्टि हो गई कि उनका देहांत हो चुका था।
उनका आईडी कार्ड पूछ के आतंकवादियों ने उन पर हमला किया, मतलब फायरिंग किया। आईडी कार्ड देखे, उनको कलाम पढ़ने के लिए बोले। उनकी वाइफ और लड़का और बच्ची 3 साथ में थे, उससे उनके साथ में सामने में मारे हैं गोली से। आपातपी मच गई, सब हॉस्पिटल पहुँचे, हमको 8 बजे का डेड बॉडी देखने के बाद कंफर्म हुए, नहीं तो आगे घायल है बोल के हमको खबर मिला था.
Among many families which have been left completely devastated and in extreme agony is the Parmar family from Bhavnagar in Gujarat. It's a double blow for the family as the attack claimed the lives of Yatish Parmar and also his 17-year-old son Sumit. The family and the entire community have been left in a heart-wrenching silence, left by their sudden passing.
जैसे साइट सीन के लिए बाहर निकले आउट होटल के आउटसाइड, तो वहाँ पर आतंकियों ने पकड़ के उसके साथ ऐसा हादसा हुआ है कि उसको शूट कर दिया है, 0 रेंज से ही उसके साथ गोली मार दी है.
Sailesh Kathalia's family from Gujarat was also shattered after the brutal attack. Sailesh was about to celebrate his 44th birthday on April 23rd and had gone to Kashmir with his family to make it a memorable occasion. He was employed with a major government bank in Mumbai and was the only son of his parents.
तो टूरिस्ट पे अटैक करते हैं ये लोगों को, कोई ये निष्ठा इसकी कोई क्या करे हम, इतने गिरे हुए लोग हैं आतंकवादी. पूरे देश यही साथ. आज मैंने मेरा भाई खोया है, कल दूसरे पे मारे गए, सुधरने वाले नहीं है. इसको मार के खत्म करो मोदी जी, इसको खत्म करो.
His untimely death a day before his birthday has left the family at utter loss, which is staring at a future without him, a void that seems impossible to fill. Sushil Nathaniel from Indus in Madhya Pradesh was also killed in cold blood. He too had travelled to Kashmir with his wife, son and daughter to celebrate a family occasion. All wanted to make his wife's birthday a memorable one. The terrorist asked him to recite the Islamic Kalma. When he couldn't, they shot him dead in front of his family. His 30-year-old daughter was also injured in the attack.
प्रशासन को धन्यवाद देना चाहती हूँ कि आज हमारे ऐसे दुखद समय में ये सब हमारे साथ हैं. जो चीज़ हम सिर्फ टीवी में देखते थे कि ऐसा होता है, और आज हमारे परिवार में पहली बार हमारे परिवार में से कोई टेररिस्ट विक्टिम मतलब हम लोग बने हैं. हमारे लिए ये सहन करना बहुत मुश्किल था. कल जब से हमें ये न्यूज़ मिली तब से हम कहाँ कांटेक्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं, और हमारे लिए बहुत मुश्किल है ये समय. हम सबके साथ मतलब मेरे मौसा जी हैं वो साथ में, और हमसे बहुत कनेक्टेड और बहुत ही अच्छे इंसान थे. वो बहुत स्पिरिचुअल थे साथ में, वो बहुत ज़्यादा प्रोफेशनल एंड पर ही बहुत अच्छे थे.
The family is devastated beyond words and still struggling to come to terms with the brutality that took him from them. 58-year-old Sushil was an LIC branch manager and had long wished to visit Jammu and Kashmir, not knowing that this would be his last vacation ever. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, news just coming in from Indian Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Based on specific intelligence, Indian Army launched a joint operation with Jammu and Kashmir Police in Basantgarh area of Udhampur. Operation Birli Gali launched after security forces established contact with the terrorist during a search operation that has been underway for a few days now. Searches were launched following information about the presence of terrorists in the area. As the search parties reached the Berole area, terrorists opened fire, leading to an encounter. Well, an Indian Army soldier sustained grievous injuries also in the initial exchange and later succumbed despite best medical efforts. Operations Birli Gali is still underway. And for more, we have Vishal Barasto joining us from Srinagar. Well, Vishal, as we know, Indian Army has launched a joint operation with Jammu and Kashmir Police in the Basantgarh area of Udhampur. Could you give us more details on it?
Well, certainly a joint operation is on with the Jammu and Kashmir Police, but this is not the only operation that is on. This is the third infiltration attempt that has been encountered by the armed forces of India. And after the Baramulla, Kulgam, this is the third attempt in which one of our soldiers has succumbed to injuries. It's a gunfight, it's a fierce gun battle. It's on there in Udhampur. This is Basantgarh. But it is not the only attempt, because we have seen that how terrorists from across the border, they are trying to infiltrate our borders, and our security forces are on high alert. So in this joint operation, where one soldier has succumbed to the injuries, the battle is still on, the gun battle I'm talking about. But apart from this, another encounter is on since yesterday in Baramulla, in which one terrorist has been killed, has been neutralized, and from there 2 AK-47 rifles, 1 pistol, 5 magazines and warlike stores were recovered. But in Baramulla, the identity and the group of the terrorists is yet to be ascertained. So a lot of attempts by the terrorists from across the border, and in this specific case in Udhampur Basangarh area, one of our soldiers has achieved a martyrdom. Lipakshi.
All right, Vishal, you are in Srinagar right now, and yesterday there was a complete bandh which happened almost after 35 years. Give us a sense of what's the situation in the valley right now.
Well, certainly, Lipakshi, I will ask my cameraman to show you here in Lal Chowk, which is the epicenter of Srinagar, and slowly life is limping back to normal. The shops, they are open, though the area is still highly secured. You can see the vehicle of Jammu and Kashmir police. They are taking no stone. They are taking all precaution to keep the tourists safe and secure. But as far as the economy is concerned, definitely it has taken a beating. And yesterday it was a bandh, complete strike all across the state in protest against the dastardly attack that took place in Pahalgam. But today the shops are open, though the footfall has drastically fallen, and only few tourists could be seen here. Most of them, they have rescheduled their flights. They want to go back. Definitely the local administration has tough homework at hand, because they have to arrange for the safe passage of the tourists, all those who are willing to go back. But the central government in Delhi and is working in tandem with the state government. The Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir is also in touch with the top brass of the security agencies. And the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir has called for all party meeting at 3 p.m. Meanwhile, a protest is on at Dal Lake, and all the houseboats, they have come together protesting against this dastardly attack. We've spoken to some of the tourists here who say that the locals are helping them. They have come all out, not only protesting but also supporting and helping the tourists. They feel safe and secure because of the presence of the security agencies here in the valley, and also because of the humanitarian aid provided by the authorities, local administration, and also the local people. Lipakshi.
Right, Vishal. Also, the security across the Kashmir Valley has been increased manifold. As we know, joint operation also going on. The encounter at Baramulla also going on right now. Tell us about the combing operation by the Army, CRPF, and the J&K police in the region right now.
Well, Lipakshi, I've already mentioned 3 encounters that are on. One is in Baramulla, Basangarh in Udhampur, and also Kulgam, which is quite near to the valley. So north and south Kashmir, the local administration, the local police, the Jammu and Kashmir police, along with CRPF, the Central Reserve Police Force, and also the Indian Army is taking all care, and a joint operation definitely is on. Yesterday 3 sketches were released, but we are yet to speak anything about the success, though the sketches have been released. But the Jammu and Kashmir police and the intelligence agencies are yet to announce anything, though the artificial intelligence has also been pressed into service. So we are expecting that very soon something would come out, and the whole operation is being monitored by the PMO itself.
All right. Thank you so much, Vishal, for all those updates, and we'll keep taking more throughout the day. And right now, time for a short break. We'll be back in a while.
Bharat welcomes the world to a new era of creativity. Waves World Audio Visual and Entertainment Summit. as Mumbai hosts the global stage for creativity and innovation. Connecting creators through Creatosphere, where emerging voices rise. Wave Accelerator, where ideas meet global investors. Waves Bazaar, a global marketplace for content. Connecting countries through global media dialogue and industry roundtable. Bharat Pavilion, capturing India's rich history of storytelling.
वेव्स के रूप में भारत एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म बनाने जा रहा है जिसमें दुनिया के एंटरटेनमेंट लैंडस्केप पर उसको बदलने की क्षमता होगी.
From culturals to cinema, gaming to animation, fueling the next wave of entertainment. Connecting creators, connecting countries. Waves 2025.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lepakshi Khurana, and moving on. Imagine you go for a holiday but get killed in front of your family. That's what happened in Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam. The serene valleys of Pahalgam turned into a graveyard of dreams as families on vacation faced the unimaginable. In one brutal, cowardly attack, lives were stolen, futures crushed, and innocence forever scarred. A blood-soaked tragedy has shattered the peace of the nation. We bring you the haunting stories of those who never returned.
They left home smiling, dreaming of mountains, meadows and memories. But what awaited them was horror, hatred and heartbreak. 52-year-old Atul Mone, a dedicated railway engineer from Dombivli West, Mumbai, was on a holiday with his wife and daughter. He was accompanied by his two childhood friends, Sanjay Lele and Hemant Joshi. But all three friends were mercilessly gunned down in cold blood. Their families shattered beyond words as a fun-filled trip with friends ended in permanent pain and torment.
बहुत अच्छा छोकरा था, एजुकेटेड था, वेल एजुकेटेड. कमी तो खलेगी ही ना. हम लोग के बच्चे की उम्र का है तो अपना बच्चा और वो बच्चा में फर्क क्या है पड़ोसियों में.
Sanjay Lele was the backbone of a loving joint family. He was an accountant. His life was stolen. His son injured. His family shattered. What remains now is just grief and the sweet memories of his life and bitter trauma of his death. Gone forever is the man who once took care of all.
ये हमारे मित्र परिवार के सदस्य थे. बहुत हंसमुख थे संजय जी. और कैसे वो हर काम में, हर मंडल के काम में वो आगे होते थे हर जगह. और हल्ला हुआ है, वो बहुत भैड़ हल्ला हुआ है, इसका हम जायज निषेध करते हैं.
44 years old, Hemant Joshi had just celebrated his son's 10th grade exams. A devout family man, his only wish was to nurture sweet memories of togetherness and happy moments. Now, the family is left with scars that may actually never heal and take a long time to get some closure.
हेमंत संडे को गया था इधर पहलगाम कश्मीर में, और दूसरा ही दिन ये ऐसा पहलगाम में जाते समय भीड़ हल्ला हो गया. ये बहुत निंदनीय है. और इधर ये कश्मीर है, भारत का नंदनवन सा है अपना, और नंदनवन की जगह ये ऐसा होता है. ये बहुत दुखदायी घटना है. तो ये ऐसा होना नहीं चाहिए. गवर्नमेंट ने उसके ऊपर तुरंत एक्शन लेना चाहिए कि इसके आगे ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए, क्योंकि आगे कोई कश्मीर में जाने का नाम ही नहीं लेंगे ऐसा अगर होता है.
Santosh Jagdale from Maharashtra also met the same fate. Surrounded by terrorists, he was shot dead in front of his 26-year-old daughter. The act of cowardice has not only snatched away a life from the family, but left a daughter with the trauma of watching his father being killed in front of her eyes, a trauma that may never leave her.
बेटी आएगी तब पता चलेगा सब, क्योंकि क्या है ना, कोई क्या बोलता है तो ऐसे सुनकर हम उसको तकलीफ नहीं देना चाहते, क्योंकि वो भी छोटी है, उसने सामने से अपने पापा का देखा हुआ है, तो हम इसको ज़्यादा नहीं पूछ पाते.
Known for his warm smile and gentle soul, 64-year-old Dilip Disle had set out on a peaceful tour with his wife. The serene locals of Pahalgam was to be perfect setting for some quiet tranquil and calm moments. Instead, it left the new Panvel family with a shattered life and a nightmare that may forever seek a calm and soothing morning. Businessman Kastub Ganpote had rarely taken time off, but this trip to Jammu and Kashmir was meant to be special. A rare moment of joy turned into a tragedy that his family and neighbors still cannot comprehend. His warm and cheerful spirit now lives only in memory. These were fathers, husbands, sons, families on vacation, and now they are all gone, victim to the utter madness that knows no humanity, no compassion. The nation mourns their loss and demands justice. Aarti Rana for DD India.
Well, among the innocent lives lost in the tragic terrorist attack in Pahalgam was Manish Ranjan Mishra, dedicated officer of the Intelligence Bureau from Bihar. Manish, who was serving as a section officer with the IB in Hyderabad, had travelled to Pahalgam unaware that his beautiful journey would turn into his final journey. On 22nd of April, the day of the terror attacks, Manish fell victim to merciless gunfire of the terrorist far away from home and family. Manish's death has left a family shattered, a community in mourning, and a nation to remember a brave soul whose life was taken too soon.
था उसको बीच में किसने मारा, कौन मार दिया मेरे लाल को, मेरे जिगर के टुकड़ा को हमसे छीन लिया, मेरे लाल को हमसे छीन लिया। इतना अच्छा लड़का, बहुत बुद्धिमान, बाप रे, बहुत पढ़ा लिखा, इतना अच्छा लड़का, किसने मार दिया उसको।
पलम गांव में कल कुछ आतंकी हमला हुआ था, उसी में मेरा दोस्त का जान गया। ये तो चल घूमने निकला हुआ था एलटी छुट्टी में, तो बनारस अयोध्या घूमते हुए गया था, तो कल वो पहलगाम में था जहाँ आतंकवादी हमला हुआ तो ये घुड़सवारी कर रहा था।
Well, Kastub Ganpote was a resident of Pune and rarely travelled. He was excited about the idea of visiting Jammu and Kashmir and had gone there with his wife. Due to his busy life and expanding his business, he never found time to travel. However, the excitement of the Jammu and Kashmir trip managed to convince him to take a break. Unfortunately, during this trip, terrorists brutally killed him. His cheerful and helpful nature has left his family and neighbours in deep sorrow. And now let us look at why India's suspension of 65-year-old Indus Waters Treaty is so significant. Well, Pakistan relies on the Indus River and its tributaries, Indus, Jhelum and Chenab, for approximately 80% of its irrigated agriculture. Water from Indus contributes 21% to Pakistan's GDP and supports 45% of its workforce. The suspension could halt the flow of 39 billion cubic meters of water annually from India to Pakistan, threatening water availability for irrigation. Well, Indus Basin is critical to Pakistan's economy, with agriculture and related industries forming a significant portion of its GDP. A disruption in water supply could lead to a sharp economic downturn, with ripple effects on trade, employment and food prices. Water scarcity could disrupt agro-based industries which rely on agricultural inputs, potentially reducing exports and worsening Pakistan's balance of payments. Pakistan may seek intervention from global bodies like the United Nations or the World Bank to challenge India's unilateral suspension. However, the success of such efforts is uncertain given India's strategic influence and the treaty's provisions allowing suspension under specific conditions. And moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the India Steel 2025, the 6th edition of the biennial international exhibition and conference via video conferencing today. The event will bring together leading stakeholders from across the global steel value chain to discuss the future trajectory of the sector with a sharp focus on growth, sustainability, resilience and innovation. Key highlights of the international conference cum exhibition include the display of cutting-edge technologies and advancements in the steel industry. Also, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will participate in a program marking National Panchayati Raj Day in East India's Bihar. During his visit, Prime Minister Modi will inaugurate, lay the foundation stone and dedicate to the nation multiple developmental projects. The Prime Minister will also participate in the National Panchayati Raj Day program in Madhubani. He will also present National Panchayat Awards, recognizing and incentivizing best performing panchayats on the occasion. Prime Minister will also lay the foundation stone of an LPG bottling plant with rail unloading facility at Hatua in Gopalganj district of Bihar. This will help in streamlining the supply chain and improving efficiency of bulk LPG transportation. Boosting power infrastructure in the region, Prime Minister will lay the foundation stone for projects and also inaugurate multiple projects in the power sector in Bihar under the revamped distribution sector scheme. In line with his commitment to boost rail connectivity across the nation, Prime Minister Modi will also flag off Amrit Bharat Express and Namo Bharat Rapid Rail in Bihar. These projects will improve connectivity and lead to overall socio-economic development of the region. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to the eastern Indian state of Bihar, Madhubani. And now, interestingly, Madhubani, the state's name, is based on the very famous style of painting that refers to the rural art form and is a globally acclaimed artwork. Our next report tells you more. Take a look.
Madhubani is a style of painting that refers to the rural art form developed by women from Mithila, an area in the eastern Indian state of Bihar. The painting is done with fingers, nib pens, twigs and matchsticks, generally using natural dyes and pigments, and is characterized by eye-catching geometrical patterns. While its exact origin is unknown, legends hold that King Janak, the ruler of the Mithila region in the 8th or 7th century BCE, requested this new form of painting to capture his daughter Sita's wedding to Prince Ram, the central figure of the epic Ramayana. Initially, women used to make Madhubani paintings on the freshly plastered walls and floors of mud huts, and this technique was then passed down for generations, and today, Madhubani paintings are also made on cloth, handmade paper and canvas. Although both men and women now paint in this style, Madhubani stands out as an art form historically developed and dominated by women. And most Madhubani paintings depict men and his association with nature and scenes along with deities from ancient epics. Natural objects, plants, social events are also represented in these paintings. Not only this, the traditional Indian art form is also noted for its usage of local plants for colors, cow dung to treat the paper, and bamboo sticks that serve as brushes. Madhubani art is not just a painting style, but it's a symbol of Bihar's rich cultural heritage and the skillful craftsmanship of local artisans. The artwork has always had a special place in diplomacy as well. Back in the year 2015, Prime Minister Narendra Modi presented to the Lord Mayor of Hanover a Madhubani painting depicting various stages of life. And now, the globally acclaimed art form continues to represent the local and rich cultural heritage of India on international platform. Deepika's report for DD India.
And some updates on the Russia-Ukraine conflict now. US President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy clashed again on Wednesday on efforts to end the 3-year-old conflict in Ukraine. Trump has attacked Zelenskyy for refusing to recognize Russia's occupation of Crimea, accusing him of harming peace negotiations with Moscow. In a post on Truth Social on Wednesday, Trump described the situation for Ukraine as dire. He said that Crimea was lost years ago and is not even a point of discussion. Speaking at the White House, Trump said he just wanted to see the conflict end.
Everything is good. Look, I just want to see the war end. I don't care. If they're both happy, they both sign an agreement. I have no favorites. I don't want to have any favorites. I want to have a deal done. I want to save the lives. It's way down from.
Well, earlier, Zelenskyy has ruled out ceding territory to Russia in any deal before talks set for Wednesday in London among US, European and Ukrainian officials. Zelenskyy said there is nothing to talk about. It is our land, the land of the Ukrainian people.
As we start talking about Crimea, our sovereign territories, etc., we enter the format that Russia wants a prolongation of the war because it will not be possible to agree on everything quickly. Ukraine does not legally recognize the occupation of Crimea. There is nothing to talk about. It is outside our constitution. This is our territory, the territory of the people of Ukraine.
Well, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy arrived in South Africa on Wednesday night, intensifying diplomatic efforts as U.S. brokered peace talks with Russia gained momentum. Zelenskyy plans key meetings with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa and European leaders from Spain, Poland and the Czech Republic. The visit comes as Zelenskyy signals a readiness to negotiate with Russia if a ceasefire halts the fighting. In a significant development, he also expressed willingness to meet U.S. President Donald Trump later this week during the funeral of Pope Francis. Well, a combined Russian missile and drone strike triggered fires in several districts of the Ukrainian capital Kyiv early on Thursday, injuring 21 people. Mayor Vitaly Klitschko confirmed 6 major fires in the Sviatoshsky district, with residents trapped beneath the rubble and homes severely damaged. Metal debris also fell across multiple neighborhoods, heightening panic. Just hours later, the city of Kharkiv near the Russian border came under siege. Mayor Ihor Terekhov reported 7 missile strikes, shattering windows in a high-rise building. Within an hour, Terekhov also reported a drone strike on the city, though there was no indication of any casualties. Well, a coalition of 12 U.S. states filed a lawsuit on Wednesday in the U.S. Court of International Trade in New York, seeking to overturn President Donald Trump's tariff policy. The legal challenge accuses Trump of abusing emergency powers under the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act to unilaterally impose tariffs without congressional approval. The suit charges that President Trump's tariff orders violate the separation of powers laid out in the Constitution. The suit alleges that the president doesn't have the justification of an unusual and extraordinary threat to bring tariffs himself. The states listed as plaintiffs in the lawsuit were Oregon, Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Maine, Minnesota, Nevada, New Mexico, New York and Vermont. And U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent declared the IMF and World Bank must be made fit for purpose again. Speaking at the spring meetings in Washington, Bessent criticized the institutions for focusing too much on climate, gender and social issues. He called for a return to the core missions: economic growth, monetary stability and poverty reduction. Warning against blank checks for vague agendas, Bessent urged tougher stances on borrower reforms and more investment in reliable energy sources, including fossil fuels and nuclear. His remarks come amid fears of a U.S. pullback from the institutions. While praising IMF and World Bank leaders, Bessent demanded measurable results, signaling the Trump administration's hardline shift on global economic governance. Well, you're watching DD India News Now. Time now for some sports news. Host Sri Lanka women announced a 17-member squad with Chamari Atapattu as the captain for their upcoming Tri-Nation cricket series against India and South Africa. The hosts are coming into the series on the back of a 2-0 ODI series loss in New Zealand. As many as 8 changes have been made to the Sri Lankan squad. Spinner Malki Madara has received a maiden call-up to the ODI squad. Additionally, players like Vishmi Gunaratne, Nilakshi Silva, Hasani Perere, Pumi Vatsala and Hansima Karunaratne have returned to the squad. Well, he inspired generations, carried the hopes of a billion for 24 years and turned cricket into a global emotion. Yes, the legend Sachin Tendulkar turns 52 today. We'll look back at the iconic moments that made him the heartbeat of world cricket. Here's a special profile on the man who didn't just play the game, but transformed it. Take a look.
No, I'm no god. I'm Sachin Tendulkar, and it feels comfortable to be Sachin. It's nice that people love me, they like me, and they're expressive.
Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar turns 52 today. More than a cricketing great, he remains a global icon, a name that still echoes in stadiums, streets and hearts. Even a decade after his retirement, Sachin's impact on world cricket remains unmatched. He didn't just dominate bowlers, he changed how the world viewed cricket, especially Indian cricket. From his debut at the age of 16 in 1989 to his final match in 2013, he carried the hopes of a billion. His career was built on excellence, consistency and unmatched passion. His career stats speaks volumes. In Test cricket, he played 200 matches and scored 15,921 runs at an average of 53.78. It includes 51 centuries. In ODI, Sachin played 463 matches and scored 18,426 runs at an average of 44.83. He hit 49 centuries in ODI cricket. In total, he scored 100 international centuries and scored 34,357 international runs. He also won World Cup for India in 2011. But numbers tell only part of his story. Sachin made cricket popular far beyond India. From Sharjah to Sydney, from Lords to Lahore. He wasn't just India's pride. He was the world's obsession. He made cricket popular far beyond its traditional borders. He made it personal for millions. He didn't just score runs, he shaped moments. Sharjah 1998 Desert Storm, 2 back-to-back centuries against Australia. In a sandstorm hit tournament, Sachin took India to the final and then to victory. The world saw a one-man army destroy the best bowling attack in the world. Chennai Test 1999, 136 against Pakistan. Wounded, cramping, yet standing tall, he took India to the brink against Pakistan in a high-voltage test match. India lost narrowly, but his knock earned more respect than any win. Centurion 2003, World Cup against Pakistan, an arch-rival, a global stage and one stroke of genius. Shoaib Akhtar charges in, short ball outside off. Sachin uppercuts it over 6 over third man. A shot etched in every Indian's memory. He scored 98 and India chased 274 unbeaten against Pakistan in World Cup. His presence brought fans to stadiums and sponsors to the sport. He helped turn cricket into a global commercial force. Legend across borders, from Brian Lara to Shane Warne, praised his genius. Young players worldwide still look to him as gold standard. His humility off the field and intensity on it earned him love and respect. He became the face of Indian excellence, not just in sport, but as a national hero. At 52, Sachin is as relevant as ever. A mentor, voice of the game, and champion of grassroots cricket. His story still inspires. Today, the world wishes happy birthday to the man who made cricket larger than life. Sachin Tendulkar, forever the master, forever the icon. Narayan Singh's report for DD India.
All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. Well, we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.